Good evening. Today we're asking of America, buried inside the three oceans surrounding it by the members of the Committee of Gods. As we've been telling you, we are the couple who is sounding the alarm about the crimes being committed against the human race by a squadron of unseen American assassins wearing cloaks of invisibility created with a technology stolen from two men of science from the Avatar's birth country about 7 decades ago, weaponized by the American military, being used to commit returned on the twin tropical Caribbean island, what it's called Trinidad and Tobago. And this same technology is now being used to commit a global holocaust against the entire human race, currently infecting the bodies of about 170 million people and terminating the mortal lives of about, I guess, almost 3 million human beings from inside the fourth dimension. Donald J. Trump is using this same technology as a weapon to attack the body, mind, heart, psyche, spirit, soul of torturing, tormenting, terrorizing Avatar Galextra, who's also, by the way, God, liberate, recruit, destructive way of life that they have been forced to live for ages across the surface of Gaia, their goddess, for a long time now. And so Trump is determined to make sure that America is sunk inside the ocean surrounding her by the Committee of Gods, because he's fully aware of the identity of the great goddess. And he also knows that the Committee of Gods issued a proclamation in October of 2018 informing the US and Canada that both of these two nations have been found guilty of crimes committed against the oceans and against the human race using a technology, healing technology created by the go as a weapon to commit these massive crimes against human beings. If God issued an order for ancient living planet-sized being to put this pronouncement into motion for both the US and Canada to be removed completely from the surface of a planet-sized body if these two governments continue to ignore, dismiss, and disregard the pronouncements made to them by the groups. So Donald J. Trump, in his last life, lived here as General George Patton. He was determined to embarrass the US government with information about how it did some wrongs during World War II, maybe working with the Nazis or some details like that. And so the American government had him killed. His mortal life was stolen from him. When he found himself in the fourth dimension, in his fourth dimension etheric body, he returns back to planet, which he did within less than 1 year after he lost his last mortal life, to make sure that the nation of America pays with its life for what it did to him. The demon, the jackal-headed demon with the human-sized body of a cockroach, who is determined today to make sure that America as a nation is sunk inside the oceans by Lady Gaia herself. So there's an article I can reference you to check. It's called The Strange and Shocking Similarities Between Donald Trump and Blood and Guts Patton, written by Tony Platt, P-L-A-T. You can check that information. They look like two identical twins, and their mannerisms, characteristics, personality, conduct, and more are exactly the same, except Donald J. Trump continues to attack this god the great goddess, her divine majesty, trying to kill a part of her body slowly by attacking her from the top of
Right now, in
her
the
head.
in the back.
She's been attacked in the back. He comes here unseen, wearing a cloak of invisibility to attack a god, the god of all gods, knowing that if he continues to commit this massive crimes, the members of the committed gods and their billions of gods and trillions of female gods who make up this divine committee, knowing that they will eventually do what Avatar Galextra dreamt as a child in a childhood dream where she saw the Statue of Liberty disappearing in 4 stages inside the oceans, the 3 oceans surrounding her body, which stands about 150 something feet on a platform of about the same height. And one of her sister gods told her at the end of this dream that America as a nation just disappeared from the face of Lady Gaga. Know that if they do not provide the compensation owed to this family as authorized by the committee of gods, especially to the Avatar, their eternal leader, in the amounts of hundreds of billions, $200 billion, $300 billion, and the Canadian government, I think it's about $100 billion. A lot of money owed, but the massive crimes committed against the Avatar and the family, against the human race, against dozens of nations, and provide them with a body of timeless truths, ancient knowledge, and deep wisdom to help them to reclaim their true identity as immortal daughters and sons, and the awesome amount of DNA, genetic DNA pool that they each own, 97% of which scientists have dismissed as junk DNA. Because of these crimes done to this family and to the human family, the gods have decided that a lesson has to be taught to nations who intentionally and deliberately attack one of their own, attack mortal beings for no just reason, and who stole our technology created, given to men of science to keep Lady Gaia from dying from the hundreds of millions of pounds of bombs that were exploded across her planet-sized surface during the 6 years on a daily basis by the 39 nations who fought in World War II. So we are here as a couple informing you, the people on this in this South nation and the American nation, that this is urgent. This is the most serious existential of the 3 oceans. He pushes the gods to put this pronouncement into motion to make these 2 nations. So that's an update for you, our human sisters and brothers, fellow immortals living today on this planet as members of all the races, classes, cultures, and more, living as puppets and pawns and prisoners and slaves of the establishment put together by those who made themselves lords and masters over your lives, livelihoods, resources, hopes, dreams, and future from the cradle to the grave. So, Avatar, you're looking beautiful. The most amazing radiant being I've ever set my eyes on in my entire each other. Just running for the bus, just floating on the air. In the finest of New York, 2 tigers at the side of her pants, one at the back, stitched on, and she floated past me as I stood there in my coat of many colors, holding my tip of this jacket, watching this goddess float along the sidewalk into the TTC bus, Eglinton Avenue, and I forgot the intersecting street. And I was stunned by the vision of the sight I saw. And the connection was so strong and powerful that I spent all of my time talking to everyone I could find. Anyone would look the most magnetic, radiant, beautiful, black young woman or human being I've ever set my eyes on in my life at that point in time. There she is today, being attacked. Nancy Pelosi, yes, and the military, the American military well, the FBI, dozens, thousands of other unseen American agents who are using it currently to commit the crimes you're being told is a COVID-19 pandemic, which is created by an animal species, that a virus that jumped from the human animal species into your species and is spreading and infecting and terrorizing human beings. The development, the interest, the track record of studying, assessing anything to do with life in the fourth dimension. They leave it to people like the theologians and the different religions to deal with those fourth dimensions, to spend trillions of dollars today to keep themselves alive, causing government businesses to lose trillions of dollars in US money from this shutdown and slowdown that have been imposed on the human race currently to be able to accurately identify or diagnose. So we're the two people who has this information. The Avatar brought the information about what's being done to people with this technology. It looks like, as she told me, it is a golden shaped, a golden disc using information given to them telepathically by some of her brother gods. And this spaceship can fit on any round table inside any homes on the planet today. And it's being used as a weapon for vast fourth dimension capabilities to commit all kinds of massive crimes against human beings, including the Avatar and you, the people, for, in this case, about 2 years now. So we're silent with what's being done to you, who is doing it to you, how they're doing it to you, and for you to then start, because as we've told you, US and Canada are on track to become eliminated from this planet by Lady Gaia if the dream by the Avatar comes to life, which it will, based on the information that she was given by Lady Gaia about the home of our voice teacher. And she asked me and Marcella, did you feel that was a reminder by Lady Gaia, the Earth Goddess, that her dream as a 5-year-old child of seeing the US and Canada remove from the surface, Lady Gaia, instead of 3 oceans surrounding them, is on course to come to pass. So to be informed, my human sisters and brothers, is to be truly, to be informed is to be forewarned, is to be truly informed. Got that mixed up. So Avatar, that's the introduction to this current broadcast. And I will turn the floor over to you so they can speak about any issue that you want to address.
Well, I lived in the United States, and I was terrorized in the United States. Stuff that we were supposed to do to get our hair done, and I was mistreated in all these different areas. Your systems are corrupt. The men have some problems, not all of them. There are some nice human beings there too. But there are a lot of men who have egos, and they can get in a lot of trouble because of it. They have to learn to trim their egos, work to recognize that all beings are special, including all men and women and children. And we have to all develop the art of understanding what right and wrong is, what the rights of other people is, and what the rights of systems are. They were the servants of the people and suddenly made themselves, after a period of years, made themselves the ones that own the people and is now controlling them. And this is what is taking place in your society. And you'll find that a lot of people are being killed at different times, and many times it's the systems that are doing that to the people. It's important that we start looking at things from a point of view that all beings are special. And if they're treated specially, they will show that all through their lives. If they're tormented and tortured, that will show too. But parents have to have the time to bring up their kids. And the systems have to give their people their time, because it's what is going to help the parents to be able to train their kids properly, carry the training with them to different places that they go to work or whatever. And do the things that are right so that everyone will find themselves living in a world that works rather than is destructive, where people don't know how to be, and the women comes up to go and help the men who are mistreating other women. And so a lot of these things are going on, should not be going on. Men, you're much more developed than that, and women as well as all of us. It's important that we start looking at the things from a perspective. All the aspects of life that it works and those that don't work should be spoken of, understood, so that people could realize what really works with certain things and what doesn't with others. So that we'll be able to work together, be the kind of families that we are supposed to be, protect. We are not superior to anyone. What we are is beings of living light. Backward because you're so busy controlled by systems. And you need time. When you start bullying people, you start acting like you can now control and do what you want to them, and that is wrong. It is not your right to be doing that to anyone. It's the people's right to decide what they want to be a part of, what they do not like, and deal with the problems so that people can come out working together in a way in which helps and protects all beings. Stop blaming beings for being color and treating them as if they have broken laws. And those who haven't, you're going to set up with other people to try to break laws so that they can now say, yes, see what I mean? She must have done everything that is you can find is there. And it's important for people to make changes and start training their children. And please do it in a manner in which protects the children, and the children can be um, protected by treating other children properly too. And this is how you protect each other, by treating every child with respect and dignity. When they feel that within their bones, they will want to pass it on to others, even as children, from within our own systems, and pass it on to you, and you better shut up and do what I tell you. No, that does not work. You cannot do that to human beings, no matter what nationality they are. They're supposed to be protected, not rejected and kicked around. Do the right thing. It's not up to anybody to control another person's ability to do different things that they would like to and get doing it. And some people like it, some people don't. And if it's something that is indecent, then I can understand. But it's when you're creating things, you need to do it with perspective that does not make something look bad until they're because they're children looking. And so respect is a very important area that we must protect as our heart, because when we are respecting one, we are respecting all. We would not disrespect an older or younger child or person. You have to practice that kind of treatment. You know very well anyone that you come in contact with will be safe. We are supposed to be safe for each other and do the right thing, not cut people down for being a color or for ways to undermine those who are of a different nationality and pull them down. That's not nice. You can work together, you can help each other, and you know something, while you're doing this, you would find that you are being helped also. You see, as we give, we also receive. Sometimes it comes in words and relationships. It's important that we adopt the kind of thinking that we were meant to. Be there for yourselves, be respectful, and be respectful of others too. This is what you want in your society. Not disrespectful, to know that they have people that they can trust because they have treated them properly and they know that they're safe. We have to make changes in how human beings react to things, because some areas of reacting is dangerous for the consumption of the whole society, because it will destroy you in like no time flat if you're doing the wrong things. But if you're doing the right thing, learn to love all beings, be there for each other. And I don't mean go and force yourself on them and all these wrong things. I'm speaking about doing the type of things that make people feel safe around you and you feel safe around them. You're capable of great things. Don't allow the ones that become mental or get ahead to the mentality that creates all kinds of dysfunctions. Reach for the ones that will help to serve yourself and everybody else. Treat people with respect. Stop cutting them down for being a color, or thinking that because they're of a different nationality that they should be taken down,
or gender.
or gender. Quite correct. These are things that has to break if you really want a society caring, and you will find these things happening in ways in which upgrades everyone. No one feels jilted or pushed aside or bullied, etc. We can do it by simply being, because they're learning things and they're also passing on what they know to others. And what they know, we all know. When we can pass on the information, we are helping others to understand things from a point of view that is very helpful for the whole society. If you're going to go and deform and beat up and do all kinds of bad things to people, then what good are you? You're just a terrorist. That's not the point to be behaving in such a manner. The point is to look for goodness in everyone, have it within them. Treat them well, be respectful. Men must respect women in all different ways, women likewise, and children must be respected and protected. These are the things that are needed for all beings to come together in ways in which you find a whole family, in a whole society. And because of it, y'all are communicating very well. You're respecting each other. You're doing the things that bring, and you shouldn't be blaming people for things they have not done to anyone. This is wrong when you do that. This has been done to me and my family. And this is not something that we take.
Yes.
So we are asking you as human beings to cut the prejudice out and start what you are, what nationality you are. Stop thinking you're superior to another because of a color.
We're equals.
Forever. Start thinking in terms of these beautiful beings being your family, and you're treating each other properly. You're respectful in your information towards each other. There's a beautiful communication that spreads around and makes people feel cared for and loved and respected, so that they can now pass that same thing on to others and make them feel refreshed, cared for, loved, and so they can go coming up and helping them to do the right thing, and are shown by those who are aware of how you go about doing the right thing, not by threatening, not by spending your time thinking you're superior, but by recognizing how equals come together and work for the benefit of the whole, so that everyone will be doing beautifully. And you won't have these problems about how to make money and how to do different things. You will have all these areas covered with the information that you can pass on to others too. It does not mean that because everyone has that information that they are now going to have to keep it sealed for themselves alone. It's to be passed on so that all beings can connect and communicate, live in a way in which no one is insulted, degraded, or persecuted. There's no reason for all these areas of lacking in intelligence. Things don't work. What works is when you're doing the right thing and treating people the right way and superior to them. That's a bunch of nonsense. It doesn't help anyone. What it does is destroy everyone after a period of time with their egos. So wake up to the reality that you have a life that you can absolutely have helped to grow to the highest and the best, and find that you are now connecting with other nationalities to get to know people as you keep growing. They're not demons. They become that, but they're being terrorized and persecuted. And not everyone becomes that. There are those who walk past that so that they can help to nourish other people to the qualities that they were born to have. We want to see people treated with the respect that everyone has a right to, so that no one, man, woman, or child, will have a problem in these areas so that they lose their developed.
Mm.
And it's important that we do the right thing. All beings are special, and they ought to be treated with all the speciality that all beings have a right to, with respect and dignity. It's when we're not doing that that things turn from bad to worse. I see people behaving in the worst way. These are things that needs to be looked at, ladies and gentlemen. You have you were born with greatness. You're children of gods. All you have to do is start working within yourselves to show that God self that is within you. Help each other with it. Protect each other with it. They will be able to protect you, and you are protecting them too. And after a period of time, no one will have to protect each other. It's become balanced because people are working in ways in which, without having to be shut down and killed.
Mm.
See, speaking out is what brings things to the point where they're working better because they understand the problems, and now they can make changes to benefit everyone. And that is a wonderful thing. You get your own businesses, or you have different types of shows, all these different things you have.
Mm.
Make use of them. Train your children, train yourself, and don't treat people as if they're less than because you don't understand what they have been put through by others. Okay? We are having problems while he's up in the roof there.
Third floor.
These are the things that we were doing such a thing. We would have been in jail by now. We have done nothing to anyone.
Mm.
The only thing we have done is speak the truth about what right and wrong is. Some people say, yeah, you're not speaking the truth, and say, what can I do? I can only tell you what I know. Some things I know, some things I know partially, some different things. But it's important for people to start working together in a better way. Help each other. Don't work in a way in which you're setting up to destroy someone because they're not doing right. Work on letting them know what right and wrong is and why some things don't work, why it's important that we don't practice certain things that will undermine ourselves and each other. So to be there for yourselves and each other, you have to learn respect.
Mm.
And respect from the baby to the adults. They have to be trained in a way in which is very loving, but not to the point where they're being taken advantage of in ways in which you all know what is wrong and what isn't wrong. Protect the children. Give them information that makes them feel comfortable about themselves and those that they're around. Get to know each other properly. You'll solve big problems, and you will find that you have been holding on that really doesn't work. You find yourself working together with more respect, more dignity. They're able to see what they need to do in order to upgrade themselves and each other.
I'm listening.
It's important to do. It's what we have to work together to help and protect each other. It's the right thing to do.
Listening to Lord Buddha, Lord Krishna, the great goddess, in the flesh, in this lifetime, here to give you back your true identity as daughters and sons of gods, with vast amount of spiritual wealth that you have no idea you even own or can access.
Yep.
She's bringing this information to you, speaking to your greater self, the God part of you, the most ancient, that still small voice, in whatever language you speak, emotionally, physically, mentally, psychically, speaking to you, guiding, supporting, nurturing, empowering, illuminating your life. And here she is, on the planet. The person who brings solutions to all of life being the target of attacks from birth, where the American government tried to kill this baby girl inside the maternity ward that she was born inside of on May the 1st of 19 in the early 50s. We won't give you her birth year, but that's the year Lord Jesus returned to this planet with a new, different, and completely unexpected, mostly Caribbean heritage. Grown up today, living a life of living hell, living as a member of the most terrorized, tortured, tormented family living on the North American continent today, online, offline, outside, inside, destabilize, that frustrate this family. And then the ones that are coming unseen, like Donald J. Trump, the demon, the Antichrist, coming to attack the God of all gods in a womb, rectum, heart, joints, mouth. You masculinity so much, you're behaving like men have been taught to behave, that they teach us that we're bigger, faster, stronger, smarter than the other gender, a bunch of crock, and that we have the right to impose our manliness, our patriarchal, our journalistic, that's the other language that we use, talking about that is intelligent. It's a bunch of lies taught to you, told to you by those who have made themselves lords and masters over every aspect of your existence. The first being in existence dreamt existence into being and dreamt beings into existence, and the great goddess did so thousands of trillions of years ago. The first race of human beings to live on this planet, guys, is a race of female gods known as the legendary hermaphrodites. They wanted to have offsprings that had separate genetic parts, so they created the first human male and human female. Call them Empress Eve and Lord Adam, using the Christian's language. Lord Jesus is back on the planet, guys, as a woman. The planet herself, guys, the Earth goddess, she's an ancient living planet-sized being known as Lady Gaia, also known to the human race as Mother Earth and Mother Nature, for the trillions of years that recognize that it's time to step back, review your lives, review your egos. You've been taught that your ego is tied to your loins, and that if you can stroke the ego of the male or the loins of the male, you can control that male anyway, anytime, anywhere. You've got to merge your greater self. Don't trim it, as the Avatar says, so that your ego can work in harmony and balance with that ancient, evolved part of your God self. And then once you start merging your egos, you'll start to recognize that the other gender is as valued and valuable as you are. In fact, the other gender, as being women, are the ones who have been serving as the leaders, teachers, guides, nurturers of the human race for trillions of years, until that, because they're bigger in body, heavier, stronger physically, that they have a right to use their might to impose their manliness on the rest of the human race and their life forms living here. And that kind of arrogance, ignorance, egotistical mentality is the reason why Lady Gaia has suffered through ages of humankind especially. So you have to start merging your feminine qualities, guys, with your masculine, the weapon and the forces of the different tools you use to control, to fight, to compete for control of life on a planet that you show up on, with an identity that is deformed, twisted, underdeveloped, as it has been the case for men in modern age throughout the planet, all across this planet, creating empires after empires to enslave, imprison, desecrate, demonize, and destroy the lives of people of color, especially back on the planet today, to bring a new way of being to all of life and all life forms living here. Because the great goddess is the one who has made it clear to you, or is making it clear to you, that all of creation, mortal beings, and that they are here to represent, reflect, and express themselves as living examples of their creator. When they're blocked from doing so by those who decided that they don't have the right to own their own lives, then you have chaos, disorder for all other life forms. So we got have to step back and change the way we see the world, the way we view ourselves, and the way we treat each other. Because if we're all immortals, as we've been teaching you and other masters have taught you over time,
Thank you.
that means you come to planet Earth, classroom Earth, to come to live, to learn, to live, to express, to grow, to correct karmic wrongs you've done, because all karmic debts must be paid by individuals, groups, and nations. The most heavily indebted nation on the planet today, karmically, is the American nation. It's drowning in karmic debts from the legacy of enslaving African Americans for 4 centuries, stealing the continent from the First Nation people, from imposing your capitalistic system onto people where you are gouging them of the money under the system that says you have a right to profit as much as you can if the system can bear the weight of the money you're stealing from the people.
Oh boy.
So it's time for territories, because the great God is here. And you're now in a position where, as two nations, you will not survive if you continue to allow people to attack your divine majesty 24/7 using a healing technology created by her an eternity ago as a weapon to commit police departments, that your FBI's, your CIA, that your government agents, that your media said does not exist. And therefore, people who talk about close-up and visibility as we do, they tell us we're people who are deluded or delusional, or we have overactive imaginations. But the truth is stranger than fiction, and whenever the truth shows up, it's always tapped, it's always watched, ignored, and then attacked viciously and relentlessly. And if the truth survives these relentless attacks, it is then welcomed and accepted as part of the world in which it arrives to empower, illuminate, enlighten, and liberate those mortal beings from the shackles and chains they are taught to use to keep them living as pawns and puppets and slaves and prisoners of the world that they live in and die in as mortal beings, and then return back home to the spiritual realms, wondering what the hell happened, and then come back again in the same world, and things keep falling apart and getting worse and worse, as Lord Odin said in the November 5th video, in which Lord Odin arrived to speak on a broadcast called "This Winter Will Be Hell for America and Canada," and he speaks about 40 minutes of that broadcast. Check out that broadcast. Another member of the Committee of Gods, you get insights into your own lives and into what's been done to this family and to you, for the ones who've stolen this healing technology and using it as a weapon against human beings around the clock, especially over the last 2 years. So I'm done for now, Albert. And you shared so much insightful, piercing truths, penetrating wisdom, and timeless knowledge with your creations. And they are blessed without recognizing that they are a greater part of themselves. Inside your heart, mind, psyche, soul, and spirit, we invite you to like, comment, and share, and to subscribe to the Avatar's YouTube page. And so far, we have all these decades from people trying to make sure that we don't get a chance to speak to you directly, and to help you to connect the dots about who you are, what you're made of, where you came from, where you're going, and the connection you have to all of life and all life forms in life. vast wealth of spiritual and genetic treasures which have been embedded inside every aspect of yourself by the great goddess herself. I'm done.
Blessings to all of you. I wish you all the best. And remember, we love you all. Bye bye.